George Bruno with the 21 Report. We're at the 21 Convention, the final event of the decade, and I'm talking with Ken Curry. Welcome.
Thank you, George.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Licensed marriage and family therapist.
Yep.
Married 35 years and 3 kids.
Yeah.
You have something to say about marriage, don't you?
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome thing.
Yeah.
It has changed my life. It's been a source of incredible significance to me. It's been quite a journey.
How old are your kids?
33. My daughter's 33. 2 sons, 31 and 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's how mine are. My oldest is a daughter and then 2 sons.
2 sons,
that.
yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Excellent. So, you did a workshop at the Patriarch Convention.
Yeah,
You
I did.
spoke at this one. You are a rising voice, and your voice is important in this organization. Tell us about what angle you're coming from, your work, how watchers will benefit from this, since digital is forever, and people are going to be watching this
Wow.
5
Right.
and 10 years from now.
Yeah, so I feel like I have a significant thing to speak on that has to do with the substance that's underneath the surface. So much of what is said at the convention, even at the convention, I feel like it's good, it's clear, you know, how to relate to women, how to talk to women, how to dress, there's so many things that are significant. But I feel like the thing that I want to bring to this whole thing is something under the surface, something that has to do with my core as a man, the depth of who I am as a masculine individual. So like my talk this morning really was about my identity and about how our identity is developed and how we listen to so many stories and narratives about who we are growing up. And there's so many voices out there telling us who we are and what life's all about. And a really powerful part of moving into becoming a strong man with a really solid core, a strong identity, is being able to, and I call it, that was the title of my talk, was who's telling your story, and the whole concept of I need to be the one telling my story. I need to be the one to say this is who I am. This is my identity. Mm-hmm. And so I think at the core of everything, if a man knows who he is in his being, that he's good and that he desires great things for himself and for his family, for the world, I just think it's a really, really powerful thing for a man to start with that and starting to develop that really strong sense of self.
If a man doesn't tell his story by design, then by default, who ends up telling that story?
By default, then kind of part of my talk was it starts with your family of origin. And your family of origin kind of teaches you the rules and the role that you play, and you're part of a system of that family, and you pretty much have to go by what they say, what they want. And then different voices like school and teachers and our culture and church, and so many voices out there telling you what's good and what's not good. Mm-hmm. Our culture is really horrendous right now, what it's telling us about men. Men are toxic, men are abusers, men are oppressors. And it's just like, is that true? And if I actually just believe it and kind of just go without being awake or aware of what's being told to me, then I end up with this identity that I'm not good enough. Mm-hmm. Something's deeply wrong with me, or something's flawed. And that's what so many men kind of have, that general sense, because they've listened to those voices so much.
Can you imagine if it was the other way around and there was a movement in the media talking about toxic femininity? Would that ever happen?
Well, it kind of seems like it's not going to happen, because it's kind of that's kind of where our culture is right now. I don't want that to happen. I don't think femininity is toxic, just like I don't think masculinity is toxic.
Right.
But it's unfortunate that that's the message that's going out to our young men.
Yeah.
It's really
That's
tough.
a shame. Prior to our talk here, You mentioned order, disorder, and reorder. Is that applicable in a man's life?
Oh my gosh.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so the primary order, and that's kind of what I was talking about, was these are the things that I believe when I grow up, when I have a certain order, because we all grow up in a certain family system, it's ordered, it's going a certain way. But there's a point in time, every one of us, you go over to Billy's house, as a kid, and you're going, man, his family's totally different than mine. And you start to realize there's something different going on over there. What's going on with my family? Mm-hmm. And so then as you continue to age, you start going, what this order isn't necessarily as healthy as what I want. Mm-hmm. This isn't necessarily where I want to go, or this isn't the life that I want to live. And so then, and sometimes it's pretty tough, the whole disorder piece, because something has to change. Mm-hmm. And so the disruption of how this happens, I work with a lot of guys. I do a lot of men's groups, and so a lot of guys they'll go through the changing their heart, changing their soul, changing where they want to go, changing their narrative. That's probably the most important part of this. And they start changing how they move in life. Sometimes it blows everything up. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, sometimes their wives go along right with them, like mine did. My wife totally went through the changes, and we are loving it. She is loving being married to me, and we have a great relationship. And so the thing about it is that the disorder can be really rough, but sometimes we can actually go together and create a new order on a new foundation. And a lot of couples that I'll work with, they'll say, we want back what we used to have. And I go, no, you don't. You don't want what you used to have. You want to create something new on a completely different foundation. And that's really what we want to be able to do.
Interesting. We had talked about Lewis Smedes, who said, my wife has been married to 5 different men, and all 5 of those men were me.
Were me? There is no doubt. Part of my talk this morning, I shared a couple stories. One of the stories was, and it was funny because it really dated how old I am, but the whole idea of going into a video store.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I used to be scared so badly with what the girl who was sitting there, what she would think of what I picked for a video.
Right.
Because I was so externally referenced and so worried about what other people think.
Yeah.
And so that young man, that boy in a sense, I mean, that's who my wife married initially. Mm-hmm. And who I am now, obviously, the 5th, 6th iteration of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's walked through this whole thing with me. Absolutely. I love that quote.
Yeah. Yeah, that it made an impact on me.
Yeah.
Because usually there's a lot of people talking about the changes that women go through. And even when a woman goes through that period later in life, we call a change of life. You don't hear that much anymore. People don't say that phrase. What do they call it now? Menopause. They call it menopause.
Right,
in the old days, remember, they would say it's when I go through my change of life.
That's right. Yeah.
And everyone knew what that meant. And everyone changes in a marriage. Mm-hmm. We don't remain the same.
I actually think that's one of the most profound parts of marriage, or purposes.
Yes.
The whole idea of the design of marriage is to grow us up to maturity. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the whole process that we're talking about. Is that I'm going to become a much more mature individual because I've been married. Mm-hmm. And when you're both on board with that, where she's growing, I'm growing, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. It is a badge of honor when you said you've been married 35 years. I look at that and I think, I probably will never be married for 35 years. If I got married today, I'm not going to be married for 35 years to anyone. Just with my longevity, probably not, most likely. Unless I live to 100, I don't know.
That happened to my grandmother. She was married for 50 years or so to 3 different men.
Is that right? Okay. And she went through a lot of changes.
She lived to 100.
Did she really?
Yeah, she did.
Oh,
so
God
you're
bless her.
spot on.
Yeah, right. What is it like? What can you compare a 35-year marriage to? Is it seasons? Is it stages? What other picture can you compare it to?
That is a great question. That's a tough question to ask on the spot.
Yeah.
Because definitely is seasons, definitely stages. Because I remember, when the kids were little, or even the season that we had before we had kids, which wasn't too long, it was only a few years. And then having little kids, having the kids in grade school. And then in the middle of that, we did 8 years of foster care as well. And so 8 years of that, so that was a totally different season. And then as the kids were going through college, because we had like the double boomerang where they would keep coming back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
And now they're all totally out. So, but yeah, we're at a totally different season of empty nest now. But I don't know what metaphor I would use, but it's just like, and I don't even know what's next because there's going to be another season. And
Well, you're beyond empty nest now.
yeah. And now we're waiting for grandchildren.
Yeah.
And so
That's probably the next stage. Then.
it probably is, absolutely. But it's been a lot of fun. I've seen my role as, helping my kids get older. I think one of the key things was making sure everybody had a college education. And so my youngest had December of 2015, I think, graduated. And then my wife graduated May of 2016. And so it's like my work is done. And so it was great. That was a transition. Now everything's gravy. Now let's see where we go from here.
Get to kind of coast a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But the cool thing was that now I can actually start to move forward with what my passion is.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a great season of my life to get my kids grown and educated. And now I'm really moving into the whole idea of working with men, writing, doing things like this, and it's just been wonderful to be able to be given a really good platform to be able to speak, to be able to kind of have a really strong influence with the men, because I'm so passionate about empowering men. It's just, that is so important to me. So it's just really fun kind of being able to have this opportunity. It's awesome.
Who is your target market when it comes to the male demographic? The young man, college age, the newly married man, the young father. Who do you think your message resonates with the most?
That's a great question, because I wanted to just answer, the answer is yes, right? And men, I just want to make sure men are able to understand, because the whole idea of my speech is I didn't really think of that it would be this group. It's all men. I want you to be able to understand who you are and what a man is. Really, what's the truth about what a man is, about who you are. And we've listened to all these voices that have been lies. And so when you say that, I kind of think it's just my target is men.
Yeah.
Old, young, I don't care.
Yeah.
Find out who you are and live from your solid core.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want.
When you look out in the audience, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, it was all young guys in the audience. Now there is gray hair in the audience.
A few guys, yeah.
Absolutely. And so your message resonates with men in general. And it's kind of interesting how a conference like this can touch a 60-year-old man and touch a 20-year-old man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's the brilliance of having especially all the, the diversity of who we have. Because it's like, everything has diversity. There's ethnic diversity, faith diversity, the backgrounds. You have your the guys that are doing. Thinking of AJ with the working out, and Tanner with fashion, and then me as a therapist, and Socrates as an architect, and it's just like there's so much. It's just really fun to be part of such a diverse group of guys who just really love to be together.
Yeah.
Because there's a really singular focus with this.
Can you imagine being 50 or 60 and being divorced and having to start over again? We have a lot of those guys in the audience and who follow us.
Yeah.
What advice or what would you say to someone whose dreams crashed and they're starting over again?
know.
What would you tell that guy?
Yeah, because they're going through what I call the void. It's the void right here, right? It's just this place of emptiness. Everything is shaken up. Everything, and it's an opportunity to discover who you are. The void is the place of initiation, and even if you're 60, it's like it's your place to find out that you actually have what it takes, that you actually have the goods, that you're not so fragile, that you're not going to die. And so often we think that if I lose my relationship, especially if that relationship was something I needed that in order to feel complete, I have to have the relationship. That's me finding out that I'm okay who I am. And so just like the order, disorder, reorder, it's like you're in a space of disorder coming, you will find a reorder. You're going to find your soul, and you're going to be able to reclaim your life. So many of the guys that I work with, guys that are in my group and stuff, they're going through some really tough times. And it's really awesome to be able to watch a man build his core, get back to a really solid place, and to be able to then reestablish his life on a totally different platform. Yeah.
There's a lot of subgroups here. We have this fraternity of excellence.
We do, yeah.
They seem like they're 20s and 30s. Seems like young fathers, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of who Hunter draws in.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would you say is the best candidate for the 21 convention?
That's a great question. Best. It's hard to be able to qualify it with best. The first thing that came into my head was just any man who is curious.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, that so many men have this thing within them. They know that they long for something different, that they want something. I know that I can be a different man. I know that I can be stronger. I know that I can, there's something more out there. And I think that curiosity, that there's something more that I want, that's the man that I would love to.
I like that.
Yeah.
For curious men. Many people have thought this was a organization for people who just went through a breakup, or for the young guy that wants to go out there and pick up girls
Get
and
laid
that kind of
whatever,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. For the man who is curious.
Yeah.
I see us going in a new direction marketing-wise, because everyone's got curiosity.
Yeah.
So any man can attend a conference like this and benefit from it.
I would believe so. And that's why I love the diversity. There's so much, you're going to hear so many different angles about what life's all about and what masculinity is about. Yeah.
3 years ago, I remember there was a gentleman here. He had tears in his eyes for the entire event. And he came back the next year and the next year, and I saw him here at this conference, sitting up straight, happy, smiling, not a tear within 1,000 miles. And I believe he might have just gone through a divorce or something like that at that time. Happy as can be, strong, confident, and he was very fragile when he came here.
Yeah.
I remember during a Q&A period, he couldn't even get a sentence out. And looking at him now, he's standing tall and he's still coming back, and there's something here for him now that he has the reorder in his life.
Really starting the reorder.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Where do you feel that your message is the most welcomed? What do you think?
I haven't felt like my message is not welcomed. I know there's a lot of things that have gone on, social media and everything, but everybody I work with, my colleagues at my home office, the people, everybody's like, you're doing good work. This is amazing what you're doing. With my my writing, I want to create. I would love to create a thing like Hunter has, that has an online community as well. Just haven't done that yet, but so far it's like this is obviously to a lot of people something that is very much needed. Women long for strong men. You see it all the time, and I think that's kind of, yeah. I haven't gotten the negative feedback. People are like, "This is amazing.
Yeah,
we love it."
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're a writer.
I am a writer. I have so what I've done is I do men's groups. So I've taken the material that I've developed over the years with my groups and the men that go through the curriculum that I have, and I've put it into books. So I have 4 books. Plan to have 5. And so so I have these all available on Amazon, and I really enjoy writing, and we'll see where this all goes. But I want to develop more things to make have a little bit more influence in the world of men. Yeah.
And the links for all of these books will be on this video as well.
Okay, great.
Absolutely. And then, of course, this video will also appear on my YouTube channel and to my audience, which is not a male, strictly male audience, and it's not a red pill audience. It's it's really a very diverse audience.
Cool.
I probably bring the most diversity to this group than anyone at this point. And I want to introduce this work to my people as well. Do you have a favorite? I know asking what is your favorite book is like asking what is your favorite kid? Yeah.
Right.
Do you have one that just that you just bled all over the typewriter? Now there's my age right there when I say typewriter.
I know, right? And that's what I was using, George.
Were you really?
No. No, gosh, man. All right, so that was tough, man.
Gotcha.
So I know, totally. The okay, so here, all right. The first one, Awakening the Internal, is probably the most profound shift a man can take.
Okay.
Moving from external reference to internal reference, living to what everybody else expects and what is going to make everybody else happy, the external, to internal. What's going to make me happy? What do I want? Where do I want my life to go? What's important to me? Easily the most profound shift. The other ones are important too, but my favorite, the one I bled, is masculinity.
Okay.
Mastering, the one you actually have up on the front here. So that feels like it's the one that if there's something that's going to really kind of I don't know. I feel like that kind of answers the question. This is the one here.
Are these sequential? Do people need to read these in order? Does it help if they do that?
They are in order. They're pillar 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then I'll have pillar 5 later. It's about relationships, and I haven't written it yet. It's brewing. Trust me, it's all in here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is sequential.
That could be your next speech here, something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all sequential. It's kind of, you can move through this process just like the men in my groups move through this process. So for sure.
Give us a little preview of that relationship book.
Let's see.
Without revealing too much. We want to keep the mystery up.
I know. I was just, gosh, it's not coming to me. There was a piece that I was just talking to with Socrates. Why is that? Come on, brain, work. Oh, the whole idea of how relationships, wait, there's 2 things. How relationships actually grow us up, right? That's a really significant part of it. And so, gosh, now I lost it. Sorry. It's like too much pressure on the film.
On the spot, I know.
On the spot.
So relationships do help us mature.
Absolutely. Now, there's one other thing that was even better than that. I can't think of it. Sorry, it's not coming to me right now.
Do you think that would go well, let's say, with the Patriarch Convention? Will it be ready by May?
No.
Okay.
No.
So maybe by next October, a year from now?
Maybe. It all
Okay.
depends on how, because I've got so many irons in the fire.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. We'll see.
I almost see this being almost like a PBS series.
Well, I'm wanting to make it into online courses and online, so that the guys in the online community will be able to kind of use this and go through it and move through all the material and and it's all about just gaining really strong internal strength and becoming a man who really knows who he is with a strong internal identity, with just understanding masculinity and understanding how that is such a blessing to the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's not toxic.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. All right, so there's a man out there who's unsure of himself. He's stuck in life. He doesn't know where to go. And he's sitting right there inside that camera. And I want you to speak to him. Give him some hope. Talk to him directly.
Okay. I would say you are good. You have a good heart. All the stuff you thought about being something's wrong with me or I'm not good enough, not true. You are good enough. You have a lot to offer the world. And don't believe all the negative things that have been told you about how you're toxic and how something's wrong with you. But start seeking. Have that curiosity to really seek the really good voices that are speaking to you about how to create a really strong sense of self within you. And go for it. It's out there.
You may not have all the answers, but what's important is having the questions, the curiosity, a conversation with Ken Curry. Thank you.
Thanks, George. Appreciate it.
What was your experience so far with the 21 convention?
Oh, outstanding, outstanding.
Professional, all across the board. Really good energy with a lot of people, and I just like it because it's a very positive direction.
This, George, this has been a first-class event. It's fantastic. You guys are in a really tight ship. I've been to a lot of conventions over the course of my business career, and I can tell when things are well-run and when things aren't, and this is a very well-run operation. I was very impressed.
It's pretty incredible to see where Anthony's brought it, especially from last year, which was my first year here, and to see the upgrades he's made, it's been incredible.
I've got my notebook, and with every speaker, I've written down about 2 or 3 lines under each of the speakers of just the key prime stuff. That's good. That's good.
It's very surreal, man. I'm really enjoying it. I'm happy to live in such an era where such a thing like this is possible.
I have never seen a group of guys like this, a group of 200 men who are focused, squared away, they're working on their values. Just never met a bigger group of wonderful guys.
It's kind of neat because I've been to a fair amount of conventions in my day, but you never see one where the guys like here you can just see Ed Lattimore talking to Tanner about boxing.
Yeah.
You just sit down and then you tell your boxing experiences. Everybody's kind of pinging off each other. It's nice.
It has been fantastic. And it's been 4 days of guys all on the same page, working in the same direction.
Fascinating meeting some of the people, hearing their stories. You got people traveling from other parts of the world to come here just to see some of the speakers. That's amazing.
The thing that's impressed me is everybody here is very serious.
Yeah.
They're taking it close to their heart.
What a great convention.
Thanks, George.